G'day there folks, Connor here again, and we're back with some more stories from Reddit. Hope you're all having a fantastic day so far. Anyway, hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and let's get straight into the stories. Alright guys, we're on relationships. This one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, I think my boyfriend is drugging me before bed. So I need to shed some backstory to this. I've had really nasty insomnia most of my life. It's come and gone since I was only 10. I have to sleep with blackout window blinds because any amount of light keeps me up. Sometimes the sound of my own breathing can keep me from falling asleep. But even when the insomnia isn't bad, it still takes me at minimum an hour to fall asleep. Coupled with the insomnia, I've always been a very light sleeper. To give a perfect example, one night the power went out, causing my fan to shut off. The switch from the soft humming noise of the fan to complete silence was enough to wake me up. And I usually wake up several times throughout the night for absolutely no reason at all. With all that said, let me jump into why I think I'm being drugged. A few months ago, I began a new medication that has seriously messed up my libido. If I'm being honest, I've almost lost the desire to have sex completely. I still have sex from time to time, but mostly just to please my boyfriend and not because I want to. But our sex life has really plummeted. Again, most nights it takes me an hour to fall asleep after shutting off my phone. But within the past month, there have been a handful of nights where I'm sitting on my phone browsing Reddit or reading when my eyes get really heavy all at once, and next thing I know, I'm completely in a deep sleep. I mean within minutes. I won't wake up again until the morning. This has never occurred in my life, but I saw it as a blessing because maybe I was finally overcoming my insomnia. This may be TMI, but it's very relevant to this situation. Any ladies that have ever had sex without a condom know that when you get up after the sex, all of your man's ejaculate just kind of falls out of you. It's really messy and gross. Well, every so often recently, when I'd wake up in the morning and start making breakfast, I'd get that same sensation, as if I had just had sex and all of this fluid is just coming out of me. A few days ago, I put two and two together. This always happens the night after I would doze off really suddenly. I've never ever felt unsafe with my boyfriend, and he's never really pressured me to have sex. He'll get really frustrated when I turn him down, but I've chalked it up to blue balls and let it go. But now I've started thinking more and more about it, figuring out logistically how he could be doing this. Every night before bed, I drink a Gatorade in the fridge with my medication. If he is drugging me, he could easily be putting it in my Gatorades. So what the hell am I supposed to do? I mean, bringing this up to him is a pretty huge accusation, especially if I'm wrong. I have no idea how to address this or what I should do. Wow, that's seriously messed up if that's what's happening. I really hope not. But I feel like there's probably more experimenting to be done here. Opie needs to change up her routine and see what changes. Let's go to the comments. Leukorrhea is apparently a known side effect of Prozac, but I'd honestly just go to the doctor and get the discharge tested to be sure. What medication, may I ask? Your description reminds me of Seroquel. What colour does the fluid have? Does your vagina smell different? Smear some of this fluid in a tissue and store it somewhere. If it's sperm, it will smell after 1 to 2 days. Opie says Prozac. I was on it once before I took myself off. I know, it's a big no-no. And things got really bad, so my doctor put me back on at a much higher dose. She said that when you pull yourself off of a medication that quickly, it's much less effective the second time around, which is why she boosted the dosage. The fluid is basically clear and very slimy, exactly the way semen feels. It doesn't necessarily smell like anything though. Can you spend the night somewhere else, your parents' or a friend's place? Make up an excuse and see if the fluid appears when you're sleeping away from him. This is messed up, and I urge you, like others, to proceed with caution. Take your meds with something else, like water straight from the tap. You can order data salt drug testing kits online. You basically dip a bit of paper in your drink, I think, and it will tell you straight away. If it tests positive, take it and the drink itself to the police as soon as possible. If it's negative, I would say see your doctor. She replies, thanks. I knew there were ways to test yourself after being assaulted to see if you had traces of a drug in your system, but also knew that those drugs leave your system very quickly. But should I confront him at all? It's so foreign to me to not talk about my problems with him. We've always had such open communication. Are your drinks sealed? If they are unsealed, that's a hint. Like everyone else said, take your meds with something you pour yourself. Also, make sure you get your own meds so nothing else has slipped in. As a person who wakes up if an owl farts in China, I feel your pain of not sleeping. Opie edits. I thought I'd answer a few of the frequently asked questions up here. First being what medication I'm taking. 60 mg of Prozac. And I've got a ton of people asking why I'm drinking Gatorade before bed. I don't drink those big bottles, just the mini 12-ounce bottles. I drink it because it's a solid way to keep up electrolytes since I'm not great at keeping myself hydrated. And I guess the way I saw it, I'm already not going to sleep, so drinking something that might affect my ability to sleep won't really matter. And a clarification, when I said I fall asleep within minutes, I didn't mean within minutes of taking my med, but within minutes of that sudden onset of drowsiness, which occurs maybe a half hour until I take my meds. There's been a lot of great advice, but I'm probably going to do one of two or both things. Try to record the fridge and see if I can get video of this happening, and I've ordered these drink test strips that you can dip into your drink and it will tell you if there are data salt drugs in the drink. Update, so I went to inspect my Gatorades in the fridge, and yes, I've heard you, I'll switch to something other than Gatorade. I keep them lined up very neatly, kinda like how you'd see at a store. I noticed that about 3 bottles back from the first, the seal was broken open. The drink itself is still completely full. So I took that bottle, broke the seal on one, and put it in its place. I went over to a friend's house because I'm completely panicked now. I don't know what to tell him, but the test strips aren't coming in until Tuesday, and I don't want to go back. Oh no, the fact that the bottle was unsealed is probably just confirming all of our suspicions. Okay, an update, 4 days later. Alright, so a lot has happened since I put up my post, and I really did try to keep this short, but failed. Per a lot of people's comments, I checked the bottles to see if any were unsealed. I found one bottle a few rows back with a broken seal. In a panic, I took it with me to a friend's and hadn't come back home until Monday. My friend and I brought a urinalysis drug test at Walmart which came up clear. Yesterday I was able to go into an appointment with my PCP to discuss the symptoms. While she reiterated what you all had said, that leukorrhea is a side effect along with the paranoia and fatigue, she believes that, if what I'm telling her is accurate, it is improbable that I would only be experiencing these side effects so sporadically. She recommended that I see my OB about the leukorrhea. I have not been to see the OB yet. Today, I came home to retrieve the test strips I ordered. I ordered 2 different brands to cover all bases. These would test for drugs such as Xanax, Valium, Ripnol, and GHB. I also snooped around for any hidden medications per one commenter's recommendation, but didn't find anything. I took the strips back to my friend's house and tried several times. All came up negative. At this point, I was starting to get aggravated with myself, feeling like it's just paranoia all along. So I decided that I should sit down and talk with my boyfriend about everything. When he got home, I sat him down and explained everything that was going on. From feeling like he's angry about the decrease in sex, to the symptoms I was having, to the unopened Gatorade in the refrigerator. He immediately got very angry and defensive, which I thought was weird because I in no way brought this up accusatorily. I was as calm as I could be, but he continued to get angry and finally began blaming all of this on my lack of sex drive. He said he's been getting more and more angry. At this point, I was so frustrated that I told him exactly what I thought he was doing. I asked him if he could give me a logical explanation as to why one Gatorade would be unsealed. He got angry and left without a word, so I took the time to gather my own thoughts. When he came back, he sat me down and confessed to me what was going on. Apparently, he had found out through a friend about a pink pill, which I guess is the female equivalent to Viagra. He refused to tell me how he obtained these pills, which makes me very uneasy. He said that he'd been giving me these pills every so often, so that I would be interested in having sex. I was rightfully livid, but he kept referencing some movie where the girl was slipping Viagra into her boyfriend's drink, and that's why it was okay for him to do it to me in his mind. He swears up and down that the nights that he gave it to me, even though I was clearly asleep, I was still giving indications that I wanted to have sex with him. However, he's giving me no explanation of what that means, or how I was giving such indications. So I sat down to do some of my own research on it. This pink pill is called flibanserin. There's really not a whole lot of information on it causing sedation, so I hopped over to a medication interaction website. Like I'd said, I'm taking the Prozac, but I also take 10 mg of melatonin, and since spring has started, I've been taking my allergy medication, Sudafed Allergy. Under iterations, the ingredients in Sudafed Allergy, pseudoephedrine and chlorpheniramine, mixed with this flibanserin crap, causes increased sedation, not to mention the melatonin on top of this. So unbeknownst to him, slipping me this pill, at who knows what dose, was causing me to feel heavily sedated. He's continued to try and argue that he really has done nothing wrong, and that it was equivalent to him trying to turn me on by going down on me, but I've already told him that he needs to leave. I'm staying at my friend's house in the meantime because I have no interest in sticking around someone that thinks it's okay to slip medication to people. And edit, I wanted to link the extensive list of drug interactions with flibanserin. Take a look. There are over 50 contraindicated meds that, had I been taking any of them, he could have accidentally killed me, even including straight up grapefruit, not even a drug. Wow, the mental gymnastics this guy is using to justify his actions? What an idiot. He could have killed OP. One comment says, "Holy crap, I mean, he was risking your life with those medication interactions just because he's sexually frustrated. What a scumbag." Kick him out and don't ever talk to him. He violated your trust. What a scumbag. He could have talked to you about his feelings, but he thought it was okay to impair someone. F him. She replies, and the stupid thing is that if he would have just brought the idea to me in the first place about taking something for my libido, I probably would have been open to it, but he'd decided he'd rather hide it. Wow, that is a flat-out assaulter and a criminal in the making. I'm so horrified on your behalf and glad that you were able to stand up for yourself. Please take time to digest this, to mull over your options, whether they be pressing charges, warning his acquaintances, therapy, etc. She says, "My friend agrees that I should be pressing charges. As much as I want to, I really have zero evidence of it. When all the Gatorade tests came up null, we threw it out because I definitely wasn't going to drink it anyway." Is there a way for me to report this and then stay out of it? The idea of going through a whole trial with nothing but his verbal admission of guilt to me in private seems hopeless. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully there is some way around it. If not, this guy deserves to be on some sort of list or something at the very least. Anyway guys, that's it for that story. As always, give me your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next. Okie dokie, still with relationships, another throwaway account, and this one's titled, "I have been sleeping with my best friend for 2 weeks, and I think we've been dating for 10 years and never realized it." So me and Sophie have been best friends since like the first grade. She was my next door neighbour growing up, and we went to the same college, and got jobs in the same city, and we've been roommates since we were like 25. So typing this, it almost seems like we've been a couple all along, but I've never really thought of her sexually since we were teenagers. She had a boyfriend at like 17, and they were really in love with each other, and I was good friends with him, but unfortunately he drowned like a week after we graduated high school. She was obviously a wreck, and I helped her as much as I could get through it, and in the process we pretty much became inseparable. It's not like one of us was clinging to the other, it was completely mutual. We liked the same things, have the same interests, and did stuff together all the time. When she was having a hard time sleeping because of Rick's drowning, she'd asked to come over because she didn't want to be alone, and I, of course, was there for her. Eventually, we graduated college and decided to get jobs in the same city. And eventually after that, we decided to move in together as roommates because we could save a ton of money, and we were always hanging out together anyway. Now, I realised that basically I think we've been a couple, except we just didn't have sex. Of course, she would have a guy over sometimes, but it was never really serious, and same with me. I dated a bit, but never really felt a connection with any of them. So about 2 weeks ago, we were watching wrestling like we do every week, and she started softly crying, and we were sitting like inches from each other on the couch. So I, of course, put my arm around her and asked if she's okay, and if she needs to talk. Basically, she's been having a hard time finding a guy, and she's really upset. She's always been kind of thick, but now she's pretty chubby and says that attractive guys don't want to sleep with her anymore. So I'm trying to be supportive and stuff, and I wasn't lying. I've always thought she was really pretty, but I said that's not true, and that plenty of guys would love to sleep with her. She's not a prude or anything, and we always make crude jokes to each other. And I said something like, "If we weren't like best friends ever, then I'd have been trying to bang you for the past 10 years. She gave me this look like I'd just flipped a switch on a robot, like she was just staring right into my eyes, and my brain is telling me to kiss her, and so I did. We were making out for probably 5 minutes, and she'd pulled my shirt off, and I had hers pulled off, and then I'm thinking, oh my god, what am I doing? So I stopped, and I'm like, whoa, we need to think about this. Are we sure we want to go down this road? We talk for like 2 minutes, and we basically decide, hey, we've been friends for 25 years and been through way worse together, that having sex one time shouldn't be an issue. And it was by far the best sex I ever had, and now since that time we've had sex at least once every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times. We both recognize we need to discuss this, but keep saying we'll discuss it tomorrow when we'll have more time. But I recognize we have to discuss it, like soon, and I'm scared. I think I've realized that I've been madly in love with her this entire time, and that's why I never really connected with any of the women I dated, and I'm really hoping it's the same for her. I think we might both have felt this way for a long time, and we're finally realizing it. It just sounds so freaking crazy, like what the hell is going on? Am I crazy? Am I getting my hopes up? If she doesn't feel the same way I do, how can I ever hang out with her again? What do I do? Yeah, I mean, I don't think Opie's in too much of an issue here. It sounds like she's pretty well into him. But that being said, I can understand his apprehension here. It's going to have to be all chips on the table now, otherwise it'll never be the same again. Let's go to the comments. I think she's into you, otherwise she probably wouldn't have slept with you multiple times. I suggest that you start taking her out on real dates. If she agrees and is receptive to cuddling and holding hands, she's definitely into you. And whenever you feel is the right timing, you can tell her what's in your heart and how you feel about her. Opie says, I mean, like we always cuddle on the couch, and in college when she would come to my dorm because she couldn't sleep, we'd sleep in my bed together. Just nothing sexual happened. I'm starting to think she spent 15 years trying to give me hints now. I agree, take her on actual dates. Allow yourself to feel some of those early relationship jitters and awkwardness as you embark on a new type of relationship together. He says, I'm going to, and we go on dates all the time, I just didn't realize there were dates. Like dinner together, lunch, museums. I think we should plan a vacation together with a king bed instead of twin beds, lol. This is adorable. It sounds like you guys are basically in the perfect position for this to happen. Are you worried expectations will change if you become an official couple? Maybe pick an evening once a week to do a serious check-in with each other, where you each have an open floor to bring up any concerns or thoughts you've had about this shift in your relationship. And have fun. I bet all your friends are going to be like, geez guys, finally. And Opie replies, both of our parents are always joking with us about when we're going to give them grandkids, but both of us are firmly child-free, so we always use that defense. And don't stress that we aren't a couple. I think I really am the only one who didn't realize I'm in love with her. I feel like an idiot. And edit, I just got home from work. She gets home in a bit. I think I'm just going to sit her down and lay it all out there. I'm so stressed out by not knowing. And an update the next day. So she got home and I told her we need to talk, and she seemed disappointed, so I was really bummed. Like she looked like she wanted to cry. But I said, please just let me say what I need to say, and that we can go from there. I told her that since we started having sex, I've realized I'd been in love with her for a really long time and didn't realize it. And she started trying to hold back tears, and I got the worst knot in my stomach and thought I was literally going to puke. I told her it's okay if she doesn't feel the same. I would always be there for her as a friend, and would try my best to not let my feelings get in the way. But now that it's out there, I guess there isn't any going back. She told me to stop, and she was crying now. I stopped, and it felt like an eternity just sitting there. I couldn't even look her in the face. Then she just kind of wrapped her arms around me and buried her face in my chest and was sobbing. I'm just sitting there confused, trying to figure out if this is good or horrible. Finally, she looks up at me and says that she's been waiting for me to say that since college, and that the reason she was crying with me on the couch the other week was because she thought it had been long enough and it wasn't going to happen, and that's why she kept trying to put off having a talk after we started having sex, because she thought that was the closest we'd come to being a couple. Now we're waiting for our Chinese food to come after some awesome sex. Thanks so much for the advice and getting me to finally say something. Alrighty guys, and that's the end of that story. A good ending for the couple, but geez, it took them a while, didn't it? Some final comments. Guys, there's this girl with whom I've been inseparable for over a decade. We also live together, go out together, have the same hobbies, and have been sleeping together every day. Do you guys think she's into me? Maybe she's just Canadian. Friends of mine got married after 20 years of, why is no one dating this person? They're perfect, but not connecting the dots. None of us saw it coming, but once it happened, it was hilarious and sweet and obvious. Yeah, obvious is a good word for it. Anyway, guys, we're going to leave that there. That's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.